Snow was falling fast. The wind was sharp like a blade, and the night sky was dark and empty. A small alien girl lay in the snow. Her skin pale blue, her breathing weak. She wore nothing but a thin medical gown, torn at the edges, her feet bare, her lips trembled as she whispered something, but no one was there to hear. She had been thrown out of the hospital ship just hours ago. "She's too sick to save," said one of the alien doctors. "Her cure is not worth the resources." Said another, "Leave her. Let the cold take her. We must move on." So they dropped her on a frozen planet far from any city, far from any help. They didn't even look back. Now she was alone, in the cold. Her name was Vea. And she was dying, but someone else was nearby. Dr. Marcus Reed walked through the snow. He lived alone in the forest mountains. Once a famous military medic, now a quiet man trying to forget, he carried firewood in his arms, heading back to his small wooden cabin. But then he saw something, a shape in the snow. Not a deer. Not an animal, a person. He dropped the wood and ran. As he got closer, he saw her blue skin and long, thin fingers. An alien. He said softly, still breathing. Her eyes opened for a second, just a flicker of gold light. Then they closed again. Marcus looked around. No tracks, no ship, just snow and silence. He knew this was dangerous. He knew aliens weren't always friendly. But he also knew one thing. She was going to die here, and he had saved lives once, even during war. His hands moved without thinking. He wrapped her in his heavy coat, lifted her gently in his arms. She was so light. Like a child, he took her home. The cabin was warm. The fire burned strong. Marcus laid her on the couch. Her skin was cold like ice. He checked her pulse, weak but alive. He opened his old med kit and got to work. He cleaned the wounds, gave her fluids, covered her in blankets. Hours passed. She didn't wake. But her chest rose and fell slowly. Marcus sat by her side, watching. He had seen many strange things in the galaxy, but this was something different. Why would someone throw her away? He picked up a small metal tag hanging around her neck. The alien writing was hard to read, but one word stood out. Unfit. He frowned. What kind of monsters leave a girl to die just because she's sick? Morning came. Snow still covered the ground outside, but the fire inside was steady. Vea opened her eyes again, golden, tired, full of fear. She tried to sit up, but Marcus gently stopped her. "You're safe," he said softly. "You're in my home?" She looked around, confused. Then she whispered something in her language. Marcus didn't understand the words, but the pain in her voice was clear. He pointed to himself. "Marcus," he said. Then to her, she hesitated, then whispered, "Vea." Her voice was dry like sand. Marcus gave her water, and she drank slowly. He smiled a little. "At least you're awake." Vea looked at the fire, her eyes wide. She had never seen a real fire before. Then her face turned worried, and she tried to sit up again. Marcus shook his head. "Rest," he said. "You're safe here." But deep inside, Marcus knew something was coming. No one leaves someone to die unless they want no witnesses, and whoever left Vea behind might come back to finish the job. He looked at her again. Sick, small, scared, and yet somehow strong, she had survived the cold. She had survived betrayal, and now she was in his care. He didn't know why, but Marcus felt a strange pull in his chest, like fate had brought her to him, and he would not let her die. Not now, not ever. Vea slowly opened her eyes. The ceiling was made of wood. Warm light danced from a nearby fire. She blinked, confused. This wasn't a ship. This wasn't a lab. This place smelled like smoke and something sweet. Her body ached. But she could feel warmth again. Her fingers moved under soft blankets. Her chest didn't hurt as much. She turned her head. A strange creature sat in the corner, a human. He had dark hair, a beard, and kind eyes. He was watching her, not moving. Like he didn't want to scare her. "You're awake," he said in a low voice. "I wasn't sure you'd make it." Vaya didn't answer. She didn't trust him. Last time she trusted someone, they dropped her in the snow. Her voice was weak. Where am I?" "In my cabin," he said. "I found you outside, nearly frozen." Vaya looked at the fire. Her people never used fire. They said it was too primitive, too dangerous. But now it was saving her life. "You saved me," she whispered. The man nodded. "Name's Marcus," he said. "I used to be a medic in the war." Vaya stared at him, a human soldier. She tried to sit up, but pain shot through her ribs. She winced and fell back. Marcus walked over slowly. He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Easy," he said. "You're hurt." Cracked ribs, low body temp, and some kind of infection. She turned her face away, ashamed. Her people called her too sick to save. Marcus placed a metal cup near her lips. "Drink." "It's just water." Vaya hesitated, but then took a slow sip. It tasted clean. "Why?" she asked, her eyes narrowing. "Why help me?" Marcus sighed. He looked into the fire, his voice soft. "I've seen too many people die," he said, "in battle, in cities, on ships. Some I couldn't save. Some I didn't try hard enough." He looked at her. "When I saw you in the snow, I couldn't walk away." Vaya studied him. He looked tired, like someone who had lost many things. But his eyes were honest. Still, she didn't understand. Her own people had thrown her away. Why would a stranger, a human, care? "You don't know me," she whispered. "I'm nothing." Marcus leaned forward. "You're alive," he said. "That's enough." A long silence passed. Only the crackling of the fire filled the room. Via's eyes grew heavy again. Her body needed rest. Marcus noticed and pulled the blanket higher. "You need sleep," he said. "You're safe here." As her eyes closed again, she whispered her name, Vaya. Marcus smiled gently. "Nice to meet you, Vaya." She slept through the night. And for the first time in weeks, her dreams didn't end in fear. The next morning, Vaya opened her eyes again. This time, she felt stronger. The pain in her side was still there, but her body didn't feel like ice anymore. She looked around. Marcus wasn't in the room, but she could hear movement outside. She slowly sat up, using the wall for support. There were books, wooden shelves, old tools, and pictures. Of humans, one showed Marcus in a uniform, standing beside other soldiers. He had medals on his chest and sadness in his smile. The door creaked. Marcus walked in, holding a bowl of soup. "You're up," he said. "I figured you'd be hungry." He placed the bowl near her. Steam rose from it, warm and rich. Vaya looked at it, unsure. Food from strangers was risky, Marcus noticed her hesitation. He took a spoon, sipped some himself, then smiled. "See? Not poison," he joked. Vaya gave a small smile, her first in a long time. She took the spoon and ate slowly. It was the best thing she had tasted in weeks. "Thank you," she whispered again. Her voice had more strength now. Marcus sat across from her. "Do you remember what happened?" he asked. Vaya nodded slowly. "They said I was too sick to save." Anger flickered in Marcus's eyes. He clenched his jaw, then shook his head. "Then they're fools," he said. "You're worth saving." Vaya looked down. She wasn't sure if she believed him, but part of her wanted to. For the first time, the cabin didn't feel like a trap. It felt like a beginning. Snow had stopped falling. The morning was quiet, and a soft mist hung over the trees. Inside the cabin, Via sat near the window, wrapped in a thick blanket. Her body was healing, but her heart still carried fear. Marcus sat at the table, checking a scanner device. A red light blinked on its screen. He frowned. "They're scanning nearby," he said. Vaya's eyes widened. She knew what that meant. They found my trail. Maybe, Marcus said. But the signal is weak. We might still have time. Via looked down. I didn't think they would come. She whispered. They said I was useless. Not worth the cure. Why come back now? Marcus leaned forward. Because you're alive, he said, and your being alive is a problem for them. Vea's hands trembled. She remembered the voices on the ship, cold voices, full of rules. And orders. She carries the mutation, they had said. She will weaken our line. She cannot be allowed to return, and when she begged them, they locked her in a pod and dropped her on a frozen moon. They never planned to come back. But now, someone had changed their mind, and that scared her more than the cold. Later that day, Marcus set up a small transmitter. Vea watched him work. He moved with quiet skill. She had seen soldiers before, but he was different. Who are you really? She asked. You don't act like a regular human. Marcus paused. He looked at her for a moment, then said, I was part of a unit. Years ago, we worked with alien species, sometimes helped, sometimes fought. I left after the war. Why? She asked softly. He didn't answer at first. Then he said, I saw too many leaders give up on people like you. Vea felt a strange pain in her chest, not physical, but emotional. This human was the first one to listen, the first to treat her like she mattered. That night, a low hum filled the cabin. Marcus stood quickly, grabbed his scanner. A blinking red dot moved across the map. They're here, he said. Vea froze. How many? 3 ships, moving slow, he replied. Probably a recon squad. Vea's voice shook. They won't ask questions, Marcus. They'll kill you too. He gave her a firm look. I'm not letting them take you, but they'll destroy your home. She cried. Marcus smiled sadly. Home isn't the wood and stone, he said. It's who you protect. Vea didn't know what to say. No one had ever chosen her before. She wasn't a soldier, a scientist, or royalty. She was sick, abandoned, forgotten. Yet this human was ready to stand between her and death. Minutes later, the ships landed near the forest edge. Sleek, black alien ships with glowing red lights. Soldiers stepped out, tall, armored, and cold. They spoke into scanners. Target. Signal weak, but present. Orders are to confirm and erase. Inside the cabin, Marcus prepared old defense systems. Electric traps, cloaked wires. HFY watched, her hands shaking. You've done this before. He nodded. Too many times. She reached out, placing her hand on his. Her eyes shimmered. I don't want you to die because of me. Marcus gave a small smile. Then help me survive. Vea stood, slowly, her legs still weak, but her heart stronger. I know their tech, she said. I can jam their comms. For 5 minutes, maybe less. That's all I need, Marcus replied. The first soldier approached the cabin. Suddenly, zap. A trap triggered, sending him flying backward. The others opened fire, but the cabin was dark. Shielded, inside, Vea worked quickly, fingers dancing over the alien panel Marcus gave her. Her pulse was fast, but her mind focused, jammed. She yelled, Go. Marcus burst out the back door. He moved like a shadow through the snow. One by one, he took down the attackers, carefully, quietly, until only silence remained. The last soldier tried to run, but Vea stepped outside. Holding a flare gun, her hands shook. But she fired. The blast missed, but scared the soldier into fleeing. After the battle, Marcus returned, bleeding from a cut, but smiling. You were amazing, he told her. Vea's eyes filled with tears. I've never fought back before. She whispered. You just did, he said, and you won. They sat together, under the stars. The cabin stood safe, the fire still burning, but something had changed. Vea wasn't just a dying girl anymore. She was someone worth protecting. And she knew now. Her people didn't want her because she was weak. They wanted her gone because she had survived what they couldn't. The snow had stopped, but the fear hadn't. Marcus sat by the fire, wrapping a bandage around his arm. The fight was over. For now, but more soldiers could come. Vea sat across from him, her hands tight around a mug of warm tea. Her eyes were quiet, but not empty anymore. Something had changed inside her. She had fought back, she had survived, and she had protected. Someone, I should leave. She said suddenly, they'll come again, Marcus, and next time. Maybe more ships. Marcus looked up, his eyes calm but firm. No, he said. I didn't save you so you could run away, but I'm a danger to you, she replied. I was born with a sickness my people fear, and now I'm marked. They'll hunt you too, just for being near me. Marcus gave a small laugh. I've been hunted before. He said, this isn't about danger. It's about what's right. Vea looked down. No one had ever said that before. Not her people. Not her commanders. Not even her family. Only him, a human. The next morning, Marcus made a decision. We're leaving the cabin, he said. It's not safe anymore. Vea's eyes widened. Where will we go? I have an old bunker, he said. Deep in the forest, under the cliffs. It's off-grid and shielded. If we're careful, they won't find us there. But it's dangerous to travel, she said. You're hurt, and I'm still recovering. Marcus nodded. I know, but staying here is worse. So they packed. Marcus grabbed old tools, weapons, supplies, and medicine. Vea helped, slower than him, but steady. She no longer felt useless. She wanted to help, to stand beside him, not hide behind him. They left before sunrise. Snow crunched under their boots as they moved through the frozen woods. Marcus moved with experience. He scanned the sky often. Watching for ships, listening for drones. Vea walked beside him. Her coat was too big. Her steps still weak, but her eyes were sharp. Alert. She wasn't a victim anymore. She was a survivor. By midday, they reached the cliffs behind a waterfall. Of frozen ice, Marcus found the old entry panel. He entered a code. The rock wall split open, revealing a metal tunnel. They stepped inside. It was cold, but dry and hidden. Safer now, inside the bunker. There was a generator, water filters, solar batteries. Dust covered everything, but the systems still worked. Marcus lit the lights, and warmth filled the room. Welcome. Home, he said, with a tired smile. Vea looked around. There was no gold, no luxury, just quiet walls and machines. And yet, it felt more like home than the high towers of her own people. Days passed. Marcus repaired the systems. Vea learned how to clean filters, cook food, and monitor sensors. She was learning fast. She wanted to be useful, not just someone being saved, but someone worth standing beside. At night, they talked about war, about stars, about memories. One night, as they sat watching a small screen showing the night sky, Vea whispered, I used to think humans were monsters. Marcus looked at her, and now she smiled. Now I know they can be better than most of my own people. He said nothing, but his heart felt heavy and full at the same time. A week later, a signal was picked up on the scanner. A message, short and cold. Eliminate the girl. Leave no trace. Vea's hands went cold. They're not stopping, she said. They want me gone. No witnesses, no proof. Marcus stood still for a moment. Then he walked to a shelf. He opened a box, revealing old human tech. Powerful. Illegal tech? What is that? She asked. He looked at her, a device to fake a death signature. He said, if we use it right, they'll think you died in an accident. But it's banned, she whispered. You'll be in trouble too. I told you before, Marcus said. I'm willing to risk everything for you. Via stared at him. Why? She asked softly. I'm just one sick alien girl. Marcus stepped closer. No, he said. You're strong, you're kind. And you didn't give up, even when they left you in the cold. He took her hand gently. You deserve to live, Via, and I'll make sure you do. That night, they set the plan in motion. The device sent a fake signal to space, one that showed her DNA ending in a fiery explosion. Her people would believe she was dead, and finally, they would. Stop looking. Vea watched the screen as the false message was sent, her heart heavy, but also free. I don't exist anymore, she whispered. Marcus smiled. Good, he said. Now you can live. The bunker was silent, outside. The snow continued to fall, but inside, warmth and quiet wrapped around them like a blanket. Vea stood near the small kitchen, watching a pot boil on the old electric stove. She had never cooked before. Her people didn't cook. They used nutrition packs and machines. But now, she stirred the soup slowly, trying not to spill. Marcus walked in. Carrying a toolbox, his shirt was smudged with oil, and his hair messy from fixing the backup generator. He stopped when he saw her. You're getting better at that. He smiled. Vea looked at him shyly. I burned it yesterday. Marcus laughed softly. That's how we learn, he said. You should have tasted my first try. Even the dog refused it. Vea giggled. The sound surprised even her. She hadn't laughed like that in years. That night, they sat together near the heating unit, sharing the soup. Marcus told her stories about Earth, about cities filled with lights, oceans bigger than moons, and animals that glowed in the dark. Vea listened, her head resting against the wall. I always thought humans lived in metal boxes, she said, but your world sounds beautiful. It is, Marcus replied, but it's also broken. Like many places, Vea looked at him for a moment. Have you ever had a family? He paused, then shook his head. Not anymore. He said quietly, lost them during the war. I'm sorry, she whispered. It's all right, he said. I survived. And now, I found someone who needs me again. Vea looked down. No one had ever said that to her before, that she mattered, that she was needed. Days turned into weeks. The fake death signal worked. No new ships arrived. No more scanners. For the first time, Vea could breathe without fear. She started learning human things. How to make tea, how to plant seeds in pots, how to sew old clothes. She even found an old music player, and together they listened to soft, slow songs that made her heart feel light. One evening, as snowflakes drifted past the window, Vea stood near the mirror, pressing a hand to her belly. Her face was calm, but her eyes were wide. Marcus entered the room. What's wrong? He asked. Vea turned slowly, her voice soft like wind. I think I'm pregnant, Marcus. Froze. His mind took a moment to understand the words. You're sure? He asked carefully. She nodded. I've felt it for days. My people. We sense life early. A long silence followed. Marcus sat down slowly. I didn't know this was possible between us, he said. But I'm not upset. Vea walked over and sat beside him. I didn't plan this, she whispered. But I don't want to run from it. He looked into her eyes. Neither fear nor regret lived there, only honesty and a strange peace. He gently took her hand. Then we'll face this together. Vea leaned against him. I used to believe I would die alone in the snow, she said. But now, I carry life. In the following weeks, Marcus became more protective. He repaired a small medical unit in the bunker, set up health monitors, adjusted the air filters, and made sure she ate enough. Vea sometimes laughed at his worry. I'm not glass, she said. You saved my life. I'm stronger than I look. But he still watched her carefully, held her hand when she felt dizzy, stayed awake when she had nightmares. They weren't just hiding anymore. They were building something. One quiet night, Vea asked, Do you think our child will be accepted? Marcus didn't answer right away. Then he said, maybe not by everyone, but that's all right. We'll teach them to be strong, to be kind, to choose love over fear. Vea smiled. I want them to see the stars. They will, Marcus replied. I promise. They sat in silence, his hand over hers, feeling the soft heartbeat inside her. A new life, born from two broken souls who found each other in the snow. Wind howled outside the bunker walls, but inside, it was peaceful. Vea rested on a soft bed made from blankets and foam. Her hands rested gently on her stomach. Marcus stood nearby, watching the scanner screen. He had checked it every day for weeks, always empty, always quiet, until now. A red flash blinked on the screen. His heart skipped. He zoomed in, eyes narrowing. A ship high above the forest, cloaked, silent, but watching. No, he whispered. They found us. He didn't wake Vea right away. Instead, he ran checks on every defense system, the outer walls, power traps, hidden shields. Everything was working, but that didn't calm his nerves. When he finally walked into the sleeping room, Vea opened her eyes before he could say a word. You're breathing too fast, she said quietly. What's wrong? Marcus sat beside her. A scout ship, he said. Same design as the last. Group, silent mode. That means recon first, then strike. Vea looked down. I thought the fake signal worked. So did I, he replied. But maybe someone double-checked. Or maybe someone betrayed us. Vea stood slowly, pressing a hand to the wall for balance. Her strength was growing, but she still moved carefully. I won't let them take this child, she whispered. I won't let them take us. Marcus placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we need a plan, he said. And this time, we don't just hide, we fight smart. She nodded. No more running, no more freezing in fear. Over the next 2 days, they prepared. Vea helped build signal jammers using old tech and alien parts. Marcus set up remote traps far from the bunker to lead enemies away. They spoke less, moved quickly, and slept only in turns. At night, they spoke in whispers. What if they catch us? They won't, but what if? Then I'll protect you, Vea. Always. On the 3rd day, it began. 3 ships broke through the clouds. Dark metal with flashing red eyes. They didn't land gently, they crashed through trees like monsters. Boots hit the snow. Weapons clicked, voices echoed through the forest. Target. Life sign detected. Area is not cleared. Proceed with caution. Inside the bunker, Vea held her breath. She pressed a hand to her stomach, feeling the tiny heartbeat within. This baby. It must survive, she whispered. Marcus placed a small weapon in her hands. Only use this if they find you, he said. Promise me. I promise, she said. But her eyes were brave. Marcus slipped out into the cold. He moved like a ghost. Through the trees, his traps worked. One exploded under a soldier's foot. Another got caught in a wire snare, but the hunters kept coming, faster this time, smarter. They had scanned his heat trail. Marcus ducked behind a fallen log. 2 soldiers passed. He took one down silently. The other fired, missing. But the noise gave away his location. Back in the bunker, Vea heard the blasts. Oh. She held the weapon close. Her breathing was calm but fast. I won't let them win. She whispered again. Suddenly, a beeping sound echoed through the hall. The scanner picked up movement. Someone was coming down the tunnel. She stood slowly, hiding near the wall, weapon ready. The door burst open. A tall soldier stepped in, helmet glowing, weapon raised. Vea stepped forward, eyes full of fire. The soldier hesitated, seeing her condition: pregnant, sick-looking, weak. But before he could shoot, she fired first. The stun bolt hit his chest. He fell hard. She didn't move for a long moment. Then she sank to her knees, hand shaking. I did it. She whispered, I protected my child. Outside, Marcus was bleeding from his leg but still standing. Only one soldier remained, the leader, faster than the rest, smarter, and now he was headed for the bunker. Marcus ran. Ignoring the pain, he reached the hidden path just in time. The leader was forcing his way inside. Marcus aimed, fired, missed. The alien turned and fired back. The blast hit Marcus in the shoulder. He fell, but behind the leader, Via appeared. She stood tall. Glowing with purpose, she held the same weapon Marcus gave her. "Step away," she said. The alien turned, but too late. Via fired. The shot hit center. The leader dropped. Silence returned. Later, inside the bunker, Marcus lay on the couch, wrapped in blankets. His wound was clean. His breathing shallow but steady. Via sat beside him, holding his hand. "You protected me," he said weakly, "and you protected us." She replied, "Outside, the forest burned where the ships had crashed, but inside, life had one, and this time, they didn't just survive, they fought back." Together, snow melted slowly. Spring had finally reached the forest. The cold winds softened, and sunlight touched the trees once again. Birds returned, and small green plants pushed through the white ground inside the bunker. Life had changed too. Vea walked carefully, her hand resting on her growing belly. Her steps were slow, but steady. She no longer moved like a sick girl. Now she walked like a mother, strong and calm. Marcus was nearby, working on solar panels outside his shoulder. Had healed, though the scar still burned when he moved too fast. But he didn't complain. He was alive, she was safe. And a new life was growing between them. One morning, as Via sat near the window, she whispered, "It's strange. I used to wake up and wonder if I'd survive. Now, I wake up wondering what name we'll give our child." Marcus looked at her and smiled. "Got any ideas?" Vea nodded slowly. "If it's a girl, maybe Lyra," she said. "It means hope in my language, and if it's a boy." She smiled again. "Maybe Kale, it means born in snow." Marcus leaned back in his chair. They both sound perfect in the evenings. They sat together and watched old videos on Marcus's broken tablet, recordings of oceans, birds, cities filled with lights. "I want our child to see all this," Vea said. "Not just snow and fear. I want them to know the stars." Marcus nodded. "They will," he promised. "One day we'll leave this bunker. Not because we're running, but because we're ready." Time passed gently. One cloudy morning, Via screamed. Marcus rushed into the room. She was holding her belly, pain in her eyes. "It's time," she gasped. "The baby is coming." Panic flashed through Marcus's heart, but he forced himself to stay calm. He had delivered soldiers in battlefield hospitals. But this was different. This was his. He brought out the med kit, activated the birth protocol, and stayed beside her. Every second felt like an hour. Her cries echoed through the bunker, but she never gave up. Finally, a soft cry filled the room. A small child, wrapped in a thermal cloth, blinked under the dim light, skin pale gold, eyes shimmering with silver blue color. Not fully human, not fully alien, something beautiful in between. Vea wept. Softly, Marcus held the child close. "She's perfect," he said. "She's ours." They named her Lyra. In the days that followed, the bunker changed again. Lyra brought a new kind of energy. Her small hands waved in the air. Her cries were soft, but strong. Via fed her with care. Marcus played soft music. The child grew fast, quicker than a full human baby. But healthy one evening, Marcus stood outside the bunker with Lyra in his arms. He looked at the stars. A silent thought passed through him. "We survived war, betrayal, and death," he whispered to her, "and still, here you are, the future." Weeks later, Marcus finished repairing an old satellite dish. It sent a signal far into space. Not a call for help, but a message of truth. She lived. She carried life. You abandoned her, but humanity didn't. They didn't care if the message was heard. They just wanted the stars to know. That Vea wasn't too sick to save. She was too strong to destroy. The bunker became more than shelter, it became a home. Vea painted old walls with symbols from her planet. Marcus built a small crib from broken metal and soft fabric. And together, they planted seeds outside in the soft dirt. A family, built in silence. Grown in danger and blooming in peace. One night, as Lyra slept between them, Vea whispered, "Do you think she belongs in this world?" Marcus touched her cheek gently. "She'll make her own world," he said. "Better than ours ever was." Vea smiled with tears in her eyes. "She wasn't born to die," she said. "She was born to remind us that love can still grow in broken places." As the stars watched from above, and the forest stood quiet around them, a new life began, not just for the child, but for them all. Because in the end, it wasn't the sickness, it wasn't the war, and it wasn't the fear. It was the human heart that saved her. And now, she carried the future of both worlds in her tiny hands, wrapped in warmth. Born from love, and never, ever abandoned again.